You get a win by roll-up. You get a win by roll-up. Everybody gets a win by roll-up. Let's talk about SmackDown Live. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your May 23rd SmackDown Live post-Backlash review and more house cleaning than usual this week. First of all, I want to talk about Backlash and TakeOver that happened over the course of the weekend. I want to talk about the pay-per-view pick'em, first ever pay-per-view pick'em that happened during the preview that Kristen and I did before this weekend. It's a little bit of a game. It's a little bit of a friendly wager type deal. There is no prize. I'm telling you guys up front, there is no prize for the pay-per-view pick'em. It's just a game. It's just for fun. Just if you guys want to play along. I was playing. Guapo was playing, even though we didn't have him in the preview there. Kristen was playing, and Mizark10 in the comment section was also playing. If you saw my Twitter feed on Saturday and Sunday night, you saw me keeping score based on our picks, etc. Congratulations to the Ghost of Guapo for winning the first ever pay-per-view pick'em. It was a lot of fun. Going to keep this going for the next little while, just as a little, like I say, just a little extra interactive fun thing for me to do with you guys. Another way for me to interact with you guys a little bit other than the Q&A. Speaking of the Q&A, I owe you guys an apology. I should have done the Ask the Phoenix Q&A for May this past weekend. Weekend got away from me. Stuff went down. Life gets in the way, as it does. Hoping to get that done and up to you guys later this week. But it's cool because it seems like a couple extra people squeaked a couple of questions in at the last minute. Now, I'm not saying anything from this till Friday that gets sent to me is necessarily going to be involved in the Q&A because I don't know when I'm going to get a couple minutes to put it together. But I will say, sorry, it was supposed to be up last weekend. It will be up by this weekend, probably. Don't hold me to it. And the last thing I want to say is not an announcement based on this channel. It's a question for my friends in the States. Now, I heard a rumor like 2 weeks ago that USA Network was going to experiment with uninterrupted matches during SmackDown and Raw, etc. That when they go to commercial break, there's going to be sort of a picture-in-picture gimmick. You're going to be able to still watch the match while the commercials are going on. They even mentioned it on SmackDown tonight. Now, I want to say, because we're definitely not getting this in Canada, thank you Sportsnet 360 for sucking again. But I want to know, is it worth talking about? Is it something that's coming across well in the States? Is it something that they're even doing? Or is it just another failed attempt at being a bit different? I know they tried it. Back in the day, you used to be able to get the WWE app, and when they went to commercial break, you used to be able to watch the match for that 2 or 3 minutes on the app. But I'm really intrigued. Like, how good is the picture-in-picture? Is it something that's even worth talking about? Is really what I'm asking you guys, because apparently it's only USA Network that's doing it. So when the commentators tonight said, "Hey, stay tuned, you're going to be able to watch this even through the commercial break," that's a fuck you to anybody that's not living in the States, isn't it? But WWE is good at that. And we're beeping. Why are we beeping? I'm incredibly professional when I do these, guys. You guys know this. Why? Eh? Why? I just don't know. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. Totally professional here. We're going to turn that off. We're going to throw that over there. We're going to talk about SmackDown. How does that sound? We start SmackDown tonight with Jinder arriving, much like he did at the Backlash pay-per-view, with the Singh brothers in the vehicle ahead of him, getting out the big Persian rug, and him stepping out in his great, clean-cut type suit. His tie looked like a bandana. And I'm not saying that as a racial thing. If you see a general, bandana that a biker would wear or that a, farmhand would wear or whatever the case may be, that's what his tie looked like. I'm not saying that he was wearing a bandana. His actual tie was printed like a bandana and it looked retarded. But I mean, you don't think about that as soon as you throw the WWE Championship over the shoulder of Jinder Mahal. I laughed. I cackled so hard when this happened on Sunday night. because I knew 50% of people were going to love it, 50% of people were going to hate it, and you know me, I like to see the kindling become an ember, become a flame on Twitter, and watch people be retarded on both sides of the fence. I don't care. What I think is incredibly funny is when I listened to him on the Chris Jericho podcast, he gave a shout out to my hometown of Brampton as one of the places with a high Indian population where he's received very well, etc. I don't know that WWE has specifically ever done a show in Brampton. I mean, he was referencing Toronto, obviously, but there's no arenas in Brampton, folks. I hate to tell you. I mean, couple cities over in Mississauga, I know Santino Marella's running some shit, but it's out of a gym, not a WWE. Anyways, Jinder Mahal being the champion, and here's the deal. Here's my little theory on this, right? If they were going to do this with Jinder Mahal, they had to do it now, because Randy Orton's the champion. And anybody else they would have been pissed about, but people are so bored and people are so what the hell is the point about Randy Orton achieving anything at this point, that it kind of works. If anybody was ever going to give Jinder Mahal the benefit of the doubt, at least it's not Randy Orton. Kind of like a mini Cena situation. But if you think about the Royal Rumble this year, when it came down to Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, the only reason Roman Reigns came in at the end of the Royal Rumble was so that when Randy Orton won, the people didn't get too pissed, because the last other person you saw was Roman Reigns. So when Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble, you're saying at least it wasn't Roman Reigns. Excuse me, guys. Now, when they're watching Jinder Mahal win, I think they're expecting fans to do the same thing. They're expecting fans to say, at least it's not Randy Orton. And I mean, it's cliche as cliche can be. Like, they get him out, and they don't do, if you can imagine a typical celebrity where they would have the red carpet that comes right out to the limo, they don't. They get a big Persian rug out of their trunk, and they just dust it off while he's standing there with the championship, and people are going to say what they're going to say. Anyways, the show proper starts with Shane McMahon coming down to the ring, and immediately you see that it is that time of year. You see it hanging above the ring, the glorious bright blue Money in the Bank briefcase. He comes out, congratulates Jinder Mahal, announces that Randy Orton is cashing in his rematch clause at Money in the Bank, so that's all set to go right away. Orton is going to try and retain his title in his hometown. So from this day forward, it's going to be a hometown story for Randy Orton. He goes over the Money in the Bank concept and how it's his favorite gimmick of the year, da-da-da-da. I'm sure in a couple of months when it's Hell in the Cell will be his favorite gimmick of the year. I love Money in the Bank. You guys know me. In certain situations, I love a pile of people chaos match. And then he goes, he goes over the Money in the Bank concept and how important it is, and, you know, Jinder Mahal or Randy Orton are going to know who their next challenger is shortly. Let me introduce the 5 participants in this year's Money in the Bank briefcase match. Because fuck qualifying matches, let's just announce the match right now. Out comes AJ Styles. Out comes Baron Corbin. Okay. Out comes Sami Zayn. Okay. Out comes Dolph Ziggler. Okay, we know he's not going to win, but okay. And then out comes Kevin Owens, and everybody in the ring, including Shane McMahon, looks very surprised. And Kevin Owens gets cut off right before he even gets to the ring, and Shane's like, you're not in the match, man. This is the last participant. And almost predictably, Shinsuke Nakamura is the 5th member of the team. Owens comes out and says, explain why these are your 5 guys. You know, I get Nakamura, he won on Sunday. I get Sami Zayn, he won on Sunday. But guess what? I won on Sunday, and the guy that I beat is in this match. How does this work? I guess it comes down to Shane McMahon's favoritism. At Backlash, I did what you couldn't do at WrestleMania, and I beat the crown jewel of SmackDown, AJ Styles. Shane says, okay, you know what? You've convinced me. You've made a couple of good points. Congratulations, you are the 6th man in the match. Which is fine. He's one of the main characters on SmackDown, but what this means, in essence, is not only does the U.S. title not matter at the next pay-per-view, but there's no United States Championship match. So that's one less storytelling arc that pay-per-view has going for it. I mean, you've got Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal again, and you've got 6 of the most popular guys in the WWE. Let's be real, headed up by Shinsuke Nakamura, all in one match. So what the hell are they going to fill the rest of this card with? But basically, Corbin tells Kevin Owens to stop crying and complaining, and basically looks at the rest of the guys and tells them they have no chance. Styles says, hey now, don't forget, this is the house that AJ Styles built. It was built on my blood, sweat, and tears. It wasn't built on countouts or disqualifications or begging the boss for another chance or da-da-da-da. And he looks at Eric, not Eric, I was about to say Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan is not in this match, thank God. He looks at Kevin Owens, he says, I don't care if it's the WWE's version of Eric Cartman, or the Show-Off, or the Lone Wolf, or the Underdog, or the Rock Star, and he puts it in big-ass quotation marks when he looks at Shinsuke Nakamura. They're giving Shinsuke Nakamura way too many nicknames, and it's not necessary. The artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura, that moniker can go fuck itself, and AJ Styles referring to him as a rock star, which was a theme on commentary for the rest of the night because JBL likes repetitiveness. And he says, I don't care which one of you it is, I'm getting my title back. Corbin and Zayn, I didn't really write down what they said. Basically, they bickered about their match at Backlash. Ziggler says, I'm the only one in the ring that's ever won a Money in the Bank match before, and I'm going to do it again. And Shinsuke Nakamura, you know, he's doing this cool thing where he doesn't say very much, which is good because he's not great on the mic. And then he'll drop like a 1 or 2 liner that just sort of sums up everything. And he says, you know what, most of you know me as Shinsuke Nakamura, especially you. He looks at Dolph Ziggler because of the loss at Backlash. And he says, but in 4 weeks, you'll call me Mr. Money in the Bank. Shane then says, you know, everybody's all frustrated, everybody's all hyped up, we're going to get Zayn versus Corbin in a rematch, and we're going to get Owens and Ziggler versus AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura in our main event. That's a tag team match. Next match is a tag team match. A tag team is the Welcoming Committee versus Charlotte and Becky. So if nothing else, we can thank, you know, Satan's sweaty ass that Naomi is not in the match. Oh yes. Side note, as we're talking about the women here, little thing I read today on the dirt sheets. I think it was on No DQ. So on that assumption, I'll give the credit to Aaron Reft and his guys over at No DQ. The WWE Women's Tournament that they're hosting on the WWE Network, which I don't agree with because they're dropping it like Netflix. Apparently, they're dropping like the entire first round, the entire second round. They're dropping it like seasons on Netflix as opposed to doing it weekly like the CWC, which I think is a super shit idea. But they've renamed the event, and they've, instead of calling it the WWE Women's Classic, which is pretty generic, they're going with along the same vein as the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They're referring to this tournament as the Mae Young Classic, which I have no problem with whatsoever. Immediately, people were making jokes about whether Mark Henry's going to hand over the friggin' championship and whether the hand is going to be there, and those people can fuck off. Classy move on WWE's part. I like it. I'm looking forward to it. And unless I get totally worn down and run out of time and don't have time to do it, I do intend on reviewing as best I can the Mae Young Classic when it comes around. As I say, I don't like the fact that they're dropping it like Netflix episodes. I think that's kind of retarded, if you want my honest opinion, but I will try the best I can to get some reviews out there. I may or may not have Kristen, aka Black Cat Feline, doing it with me, because, you know, she and I get along so well on issues concerning the women's division. Charlotte and Becky, and not Naomi, versus Natty and Carmella. As I say, thank God Naomi is not at the match. She's relegated to ringside. Becky and Carmella start. There's a headlock by Carmella, a reversal by Becky, a snapmare, and a headlock by Carmella again. Hip lock reversal sequence transfers into a pinning reversal sequence. Multiple mudhole stomps in the corner by Natty and then by Carmella. Chops by Charlotte and a back elbow and a neck breaker and a boot. Naomi flops around on the outside for reasons and argues with James Ellsworth, who's equally useless, which is wonderful, I suppose. Why? Late in the day, guys, my clipboard's being fucked. Excuse me. Technical difficulties. Yeah, this is probably why I'm not monetized. Not that any YouTubers are getting monetized right now. Overhead release German suplex by Natty was more impressive than expected. Missile dropkick by Becky, and the Disarmer gets the win for her team. Could have done without Naomi, obviously could have done without Ellsworth, obviously, but okay match. Continues this whole 3-on-3 that is existing for no reason. Corbin versus Zayn. Neither one of them gets an entrance. They come back from commercial break, and both of them are already in the ring, which makes me laugh. Collar and elbow tie-up. There's a toss across the ring by Corbin and a roll-up by Zayn that gets the win. Fuck me. Corbin snaps on Zayn, attacks him with a steel chair, takes him into the crowd and gives him a snake eyes on the tech table. I thought they were going to do one of those, they throw him into the tech area and random fireworks go off spot, but they didn't. It was good. Brings him back to the ringside area, lays his head over the guardrail, and does, I still don't think it has a name, but that move that he does where he sort of plants the person's head on top of the guardrail and just like elbows down on it. Zayn's taken out on a stretcher. They over-dramatize that when we come back from commercial break. Just getting him out on the stretcher. AJ Styles and Nakamura are in the back talking about their match later tonight. AJ Styles is pumping up their history in Japan and how they all learn from each other and how much respect he has for Nakamura and how much respect he assumes that Nakamura has for him. But he says, hey, that was in Japan. Now we're here in the WWE. Just follow my lead, and we're going to be great tonight. And Nakamura has the best line of the whole goddamn thing. He says, we're partners tonight, but at Money in the Bank, I'm getting the briefcase, and I'm going to turn the house that AJ Styles built into my playground. That's nice. That's good. We do the Fashion Files, which is... I don't care. The match on Sunday with the Usos and Breezango was fucking fantastic. It wasn't... Okay, hear me clearly. It was not the best match of the weekend. It wasn't. But it was the most entertaining match of the whole weekend. Tyler Breeze coming out in all the different get-ups and still managing to put on a pretty athletic match. And as I've said the entire time, when Breezango gets serious, they can get serious and be a really, really effective team. Nice little mix between the comedy and the athleticism. Great fucking match, and the comedy helped. And the Fashion Files are back this week. They are going up to Shane McMahon as if he's their police commissioner, and they're handing in their badges because they didn't crack the case on Sunday. And Shane McMahon says, instead, we're going to have Tyler Breeze versus Jimmy tonight, and we're going to have Fandango versus Jay tonight in singles matches. So the case is reopened. Yes. I still love it. It's campy as hell. It's still a knockoff on Law & Order, which is always going to be a win for me. But it's good, and it sets up 2 more matches for later on tonight. Jinder has his Punjabi celebration for the WWE Championship win on Sunday. Let me sum this up for you guys. Blah, 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 USA sucks. Blah, 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 racist gimmick. Blah, 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 you people. Blah, 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 Maharaja. Blah, 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 give me my crown. Blah, 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 let me speak to my people in Punjabi. And then he kills the entire WWE's pyro budget for the month. That's it. No story progression. No interference or interruption by Randy Orton. Useless segment. I have no problem with Jinder Mahal being champion. I think it's going to be entertaining to say the least, and I like the Bollywood Boys for what it's worth. But this segment was pointless. And speaking of pointless, hey, Lana's coming soon. Don't forget. Jey Uso versus Tyler Breeze come out next, and they've got their boxes from when they thought they were going to retire from the Fashion Police. They bring the boxes to ringside with them, and it's Jey Uso versus Tyler Breeze. There's a collar and elbow tap after Jey basically grabs the microphone and says how stupid this is. Hey, we destroyed you guys last night. What are we gonna do now? They go to square off. Fandango is on the apron with a water pistol, squirts him. Roll up by Tyler Breeze for the win. So roll up number 2. They're all pissed off. They're all pissed off. They're all pissed off. Jimmy versus Fandango. Boots by Jimmy. Hard Irish whip by Jimmy. There's about to be a beatdown. Jay is being chased by... Jay chases Tyler Breeze around the outside. The Usos double-team Tyler Breeze. Once he gets to the ring, distraction leads to a roll-up by Fandango. Fandango gets the win. Roll-up number 3 for the night. But it's all comedy and it's all good. And they say, hey, you know, unless you're worried that those belts are going to look better on us than on you, why don't you give us another shot at those belts? And they're going to challenge for the belts next because it's approved by Shane McMahon over walkie-talkie. They tried to make it look like the sports events look, where there's a referee who needs a call, so he goes to the big headset, and I guess he's got Shane McMahon on the headset. Shane McMahon approves it. The match goes on. Headlock by Jimmy and a takedown, and Jimmy is tossed out of the ring. Jay and Fandango trade some punches and a leg lariat by Fandango. Tornado DDT and then by Fandango, and then he eats the post shoulder first. A splash by Jimmy is blocked by Fandango into what we think is going to be the win. Fandango goes for the leg drop, but there was a blind tag. After he hits the leg drop, Jay comes from the opposite corner out of nowhere like an RKO with a splash. Usos get the win and retain their titles. It's all good. These guys got 2 bullshit victories that were designed to piss off their opponents. Their opponents got the comeuppance in the end. I have no problem with this. I guarantee these guys are getting another shot at Money in the Bank or sooner, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. The women bicker in the back in Shane McMahon's office, which is just a weekly thing now. It's just a weekly thing. Natty should never be on the microphone. Ellsworth should not have a job. Tamina tried desperately to say that she deserves to have a title match because she's never had a title match. for reasons. And then you got the only two that actually deserve a title match, which are Naomi's teammates, Charlotte and Becky Lynch. So they're going to have a fatal 5-way #1 contenders match next week, and the winner is going to face her at Money in the Bank, right. Now, the rumor circulating before SmackDown tonight was that the women were going to get their first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, that could mean one of two things. It means either you got a 5-way at the pay-per-view for a briefcase that they can cash in on Naomi, and beat her up, and just bash her skull in a couple times, make me happy. Or they're going to call it a Money in the Bank ladder match, but it's just going to be a ladder match for the actual title at the pay-per-view. Now, how do we get there? This match fucks up next week. We have an inconclusive finish, and Shane McMahon says, let's settle it at Money in the Bank in a Money in the Bank. Very easy, very simple, and very much something I want to see. With the amount that Naomi sucks in the ring, how bad is she going to botch in a ladder match? It just makes me smile. Styles, Nakamura versus Owens Ziggler. Here we go for the main event of the evening. Apparently, a lot of people on Twitter were saying that this is the one match that didn't show during the commercial break, so go figure that shit. Styles and Ziggler start, calling her elbow tie up and a headlock by Styles. Ziggler reverses and there's a dropkick by Styles. Nakamura and Owens tag in and nothing happens for a second, but off of those respective tags, the crowd goes nuts. The crowd reaction just to these two staring down is great. They immediately start singing Nakamura's song as well as chanting for Owens with the Fight Owens fight. Now, this could be because of the rumor that Nakamura is going to be going for the United States Championship soon. It could be because these people have been to some of the house shows recently where these guys have been main eventing the show. Kevin Owens versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and apparently it's been great. I haven't seen it, obviously, because it's at a house show. But Nakamura and Owens is a very, very interesting match because you got that sort of brawling style with Kevin Owens. You got that strong, obviously the strong style with Shinsuke Nakamura. So these guys, put them in an ODQ match, put them in a street fight type scenario, and they could get some very interesting things out of those two. That's just one stare down that happened in this match that I thought was really, really interesting, and the crowd loved it. The crowd loved the possibility of it, which is even better. Kind of made me think of, not quite as big, but the first time the Shield and the Wyatts stared each other down. They didn't even have a match. They just looked at each other. And that's how we ended the show that night. And the crowd was fucking losing their shit. Give this a couple more weeks and it could be a very similar reaction. Boot in a series of strikes by Nakamura, followed by a mudhole stomper, that freaking good vibrations thing that he does in the corner. Takedown by Owens and stomps, and then he works the arms. Ziggler rakes the eyes on the top rope, the hot tag. Corner chops by Ziggler, and he turns a cravat into a neck breaker, and then he rides a headlock that he turns into a body scissor. They're really playing up Ziggler's amateur background. They're really trying to make him into this mat grappler rather than this high-flying, spectacle superstar type guy, which is kind of cool, because you don't want to be doing the high-flying spectacle stuff if you're a heel. You really tone that down. Look at a guy like Neville. Ziggler and Nakamura trade punches, and then there's some stomps by Owens, a snapmare and a kick to the back by Owens, and a headlock, body blows by Nakamura that get returned by Ziggler, forearms by Nakamura, a splash and a bowling ball by Owens, rolling drop kicks by Ziggler, which are fucking pretty, boot by Owens, Ziggler eats the post shoulder first, and then there's a clothesline by Styles. Baseball clothesline by Styles, followed by Inushi Hiroshi, a hangman by Ziggler, who tosses Styles out of the ring. Senton on the outside by Owens, followed by a strong running knee to the back. Owens rides a headlock and follows it with a back body drop. Wheelbarrow face first slam by Styles. Nakamura and Owens trade some more punches. Corner high knee by Nakamura. Enziguri, exploder suplex. Pele by Styles. Super kick by Ziggler. Thrust kick by Nakamura. Kinshasa gets the obvious and almost predictable win for Nakamura and Styles. This was a great match. This was a great indicator of what we're going to see at Money in the Bank. So far, we're going to get set up for the women's match next week. We know what the Money in the Bank match is, and we know what the title match is, which is great. I think it's kind of funny that Raw and SmackDown are running simultaneous massive pile of people matches. You got the Fatal 5-Way on Raw that's stupid, and you got this, which could be good. And yes, I'm saying that because I'm biased towards SmackDown, because SmackDown's a better show. Eat it. But this was a good show. It was a lot of fun. And like I say, as far as entertainment, as far as what just made me sit back and laugh, Breezango are coming into their own, and Breezango are going to be the tag team champions sooner than later, and somebody other than Naomi will come into their own and save that belt from her. It's all good. Jinder Mahal, I don't mind him being champion. The celebration thing tonight fell flat, but I'm pretty sure they'll go and do something going forward. I'm sure they're announcing something right now on Talking Smack, but I'm not seeing that because I'm talking to you guys. Anyways, as I said, one more time, the Q&A will be out sometime this week. I really encourage you guys, next time we do a tackle and a preview for a pay-per-view, come and join us for the pay-per-view pick'em. It was a lot of fun this past Saturday and Sunday. Again, congratulations to Guapo, and thanks to Mizark10 for joining us for the fun. I really want to know about that commercial-free picture-in-picture thing that the States is doing. Tell me if that's any good or if it fell on its face like I think it did. Really good SmackDown. We got 4 weeks to build to Money in the Bank, and I'm already more excited for that than I am for Extreme Rules or Great Balls of Fire. Just, why is Raw a thing? Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.